Hey all, and this is the special Out of Luck event. This is a Fire Slayer event and Beast Killer. So I managed to get this deck. I've actually made up a few decent teams with the deck as well. This is one of them. The best team I have is the Fire Slayer team here, but this is only really suitable for locked bosses and prismatic bosses that no one else are really going for. I do also have my Fire Commander team here that might be useful. And if we scroll across, I do have that Water Slayer team that I use for most events. It just needs the relics changing. This may be useful for some of the guild bosses, but I probably won't be using the Water Slayer team too much. I know in most other Slayer events that's my main team. So let's talk through the team here first. The first card is Blitzkrieg Beasts. I know this is quite an old card, but it's 5 times Awakened plus 6 pink stars, so it's still one of my best Fire Slayer cards, and this is the main hitting card for the team. In other words, the card that I'm trying to boost up. Creates a few power gems, but doesn't really do too much else if I'm being honest. But there we go, that's the first card. District Defenders. This is not a massively good card, but I don't have anything else better to replace it with. Just increases Fire Slayer attack by a small amount. Then Unbowed Warriors of Glory, the event ultimate form. This creates a ton of power gems, increases Fire Slayer damage, plus does have a revive on the card as well. So it is a really good ultimate form, plus only a 2-turn cooldown on the card. So there we go. Then Legends Reborn. This is pretty much an essential card, I think, as it gives a 550% damage buff to the next Fire Slayer to activate their battle card. Then Metaverse Masters at the end. This is a 150% damage buff to any card. The way to use this team is to use Legends Reborn first, then Metaverse Masters. Both of those boosts will go on Blitzkrieg Beasts. Then the final 2 cards are designed just to increase the damage a bit further. So there we go. Now this team only uses Immortal and Beast cards, so the relics need to match that. The first 2 relics you can see here are Beast relics. Those are to break the shields as well. That breaks more than enough shields, the 8 shields for the prismatic bosses. Then the final 3 are Immortal relics, to make sure I get the fire power gems at the start. So there we go. That's what the relics look like. That is really important with this team though. If you don't get the fire power gems at the start, you won't be able to use the cards, and it is designed to be used on the very first turn. So I think I'll go across to this team. This is the main hitting team. This will be used on Prismatic and any of my own locked bosses. It's similar to the previous team, except Iria is now on the team. That gets that lovely supercharged buff up after you take a hit, increasing a mortal killer attack by 2,500%. So the way to use this card would be to use Legends Reborn with the 550% damage buff, then Metaverse Masters with the 150% buff. Both buffs would go on Blitzkrieg Beasts. Then after that, you would use Unbound Warriors of Glory, and hopefully that will create a really good grid. But obviously, you'll need to take a hit with Iria first. This team is pretty effective actually. You should be able to do at least 500Q with this team, as long as you get a decent board. You may have also seen the relics are exactly the same as the relics I have used with the first Fire Slayer team, so I don't really need to talk through that again. It's really, really important with this team to get a full grid of fire power gems at the start. There are plenty of other options as well. For example, you can use 4 Fire Slayer cards that increase damage with 1 self-damage increasing hitting card. You could also try the Jailers on the team if I go down to here. The Jailers could be really effective with an arcane hitting card. Increases arcane killer attack by 1,200% whenever a hero delays the enemy's turn, so it's something you can try anyway. And that's pretty much the teams I have for this event. Let's get on with the actual event. Here we go. Alright, so here's the actual event. We have the special guild bosses this time around, plus there's also some special solo bosses that occasionally appear. So what I'll do first is take out this guild boss. You may want to make up some alternative colour teams for these bosses. The lower rarity ones are quite easy to defeat, but when you start reaching Umbral level, they get really difficult. I will take this one down anyway, using my Fire Slayer team here. So this team is really straightforward to use. You just go 4, 5, 1, then normally 3, but you can go 2 after that. Something like this should be ideal, and then with a bit of luck there will be some power gems loose from the main match. Then just carefully match 2 of the loose ones. Something like this normally works. The main damage is on Blitzkrieg Beasts. Bear in mind this is a light enemy though, so it's never going to do spectacular damage. But there we go. So you can see at the top of the screen there is actually an Umbral one that I got up earlier. I don't think I'm going to take this on though. 150 QHP it looks like it has. I would need a strong light slayer team to take care of that. So what I'll do now is have a go at this Umbral. I will use the area team for this one. It should be pretty easy to defeat, so I won't bother to lock it. Alright, so here we go. So this should be a pretty straightforward team to use. The board should, with a bit of luck, fill up with fire power gems. Then I can use Metaverse Masters to get area active, something like that. Then it's just a case of taking a hit on the next turn with area active. Then go 4, 5, 1, then 3 afterwards. Let's see if this works anyway. I'll take a hit with area and try this out. So something like this basically. Fear did not counter, unfortunately. And hopefully I should get a board with power gems loose from the main match. There we go, something like that. And that's pretty much a perfect board, actually. The damage on Blitzkrieg Beasts is 734 Q. So, yeah, that's quite a good way to use this deck. There are, of course, other ways, but this seems really effective and will be the way I will be using the deck for most of the event. So we do have a prismatic multi-boss here. I can show the damage on my other Slayer team more effectively on this boss, so I'll go ahead and hit it. I can only really take out the first level since all my other teams either use Metaverse Masters, area, or just won't hit for enough damage. So this team is pretty straightforward to use, a lot easier than the area team. You can use it on the very first turn as well. It's just 4, 5, 1, then 3, then 2 normally. District Defenders is not exactly a good card, so you'd want to replace that with something else if you're going to use a team like this. And that's pretty much ideal. Let's see what this does. So, yeah, there's 2 loose from the main match over here, so that should do reasonable damage. It won't do as much damage as with area, but still over 100 Q, so not too bad, I don't think. So there we go, that's the damage my teams could do. It's not too bad, actually, considering Blitzkrieg Beasts is an incredibly old card. There's another ultimate guild boss up that you can see here. There are solo bosses that have a 5-minute timer, but those are not as common as the guild bosses. Plus, they don't go up in rarity when you defeat them. I don't think there's too much point in attacking this, though. So there we go. I think we're done with the team testing part of the video. Alright, and now I'm done with the team testing. Let's have a look at the Out of Luck feature. So you need the items from both the solo bosses and the guild bosses to make the clover. I will go ahead and make the 4-star version. Might be quite difficult though to make the higher versions depending on how many guild and solo bosses spawn. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Just kill the guild and solo bosses as they appear. I don't think I need to talk too much more about the Out of Luck feature. So let's move over to the collection. This time around we have the Legend Souls collection. Not the best collection, but it is what it is. I'll go ahead and claim all of this as I'm here. Here we go. So that's the collection claimed. Master Treasure Trove. Support coins. More support coins. There we go. Let's go out of here. Let's have a quick look what it is this time around. Over to the Leagues page. Oh, it's a Dragoon this time around, and an Earth Dragoon. Devourer Ellen Treshand. I think I said that right. So it's hard to say how good a Dragoon is, as I can't specialise it here, but this is what it looks like currently. You can see the skills it has on it, and it is also an improved Dragoon. So there we go, let's back out of here. Alright, let's go and claim the random 6-star hero. Right, let's claim the support hero and evolve it. Here we go. There we go. Now to claim the 6-star bonus hero. Right, what am I going to get? Well, we're about to find out. Okay, I think that may be the main hero from the deck. So that's actually a pretty good card to get. I would like to have another quick look at the event Ultimate Form. Unbound Warriors of Glory, you've already seen me use this. Because it creates so many power gems, you can use this with Metaverse Masters to convert the dark gems almost, and hopefully end up with grids like you saw me make. It does have a revive on it as well, and the passive as well. If you can get a revive going, the card will create an absolute ton of power gems. So a pretty good card in all fairness. Definitely a card I needed, since before this event I lacked any real Fire Slayer cards that could do decent damage on their own. If you are just going to get the one card, then get the card with the damage boost. This time around it's Thunder's Master Taranis. You can see here, increases Fire Slayer damage, plus has a revive on it as well, and that lovely passive with the power gems. So here are my picks from best to worst decks from the season. I'll start with my favourite deck, and that's the Light Commander deck. I think I have to put this first. Massive self-damage boost, you can see here, 550%, plus creates a lot of power gems, plus it's 1 turn cooldown. So yeah, that's definitely my favourite deck from the season, War Gods Prodigy. Let's back out of here. Now I think my second favourite deck is probably the Earth deck. If we go over to here, you can see it increases self-damage by 325%. 3-turn cooldown this time around, but does have a conversion skill as well. That kind of sells it for me. Virtue's Daring Paladins. And my third favourite deck, probably the Fire deck actually. This creates a lot of power gems, plus has a 200% damage increase. It increases damage for all cards though, rather than just itself. 2-turn cooldown, plus a massive upgrade skill, plus a revive, so it does have a bit of everything on it, plus that passive as well. So there we go. Then the fourth deck is probably the Water Slayer deck. Still a decent deck. Immortal Killer as well. Increases self-damage by 275%. That's not especially good considering we have Sovereigns of the Dance, but it's still an okayish deck. But for that reason, I'm putting it fourth. There we go, that's what the deck looks like. It does have a 4-turn cooldown on the deck as well. So there we go. So I think I have to put the Dark Commander deck as the weakest deck from the season. It's still a pretty decent deck though, may I add. Frontier Mavericks. It's just because it increases attack rather than damage. With the cards I had, I found this definitely increased the damage a bit, but if it had a bigger damage increase instead, the damage would have been better. But there's the card anyway. There we go. Let's back out of here. So I think we're about done with this video now. I hope you found that interesting and enjoyable. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. I've included a previous video on the screen, plus a playlist. Plus you can also subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.